Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we're getting into these picture frames. Link's going to be in the description down below where you guys can order these on Amazon. The title is going to be in the description because normally Amazon sends you with a little piece of paper that shows you the brand, like the details of what you purchased. And that didn't come in this that I see, and I don't have it in front of me. But I think I forget the name of it, but like I said, link's going to be in the description. And so the title of the brand, I found that they seem to be the brand that had the best bargain. Now, this came up to, I want to say it was about 37. I think it was like $37 or $39. There's a 5-pack of this same one. Same brand, but I think it's slightly different design. But it's a different design. It looked like bulkier, side panels. And don't mind, forgive me that I may not be able to get all of this in frame, pun intended. Yeah, so the other ones were a little bit more bulky. I've dealt with slim frame types before. It didn't bother me to go either or. I did like the design of the other ones, which is a little bit more thick. That looked nice too. But the problem was I actually wanted these really soon. And these came like one day after delivery. They only took one day to arrive. And the other ones were going to take a couple of days. They wouldn't even have been here yet by the time of this recording. So that is why I ordered these ones for now. Yes, I really was looking forward to. I had a couple extra pictures that were 20 by 30. These are 20 by 30 in size. And so I'm really looking forward to hanging on the wall. I used to do that back in the days. And then when I moved from where I used to be back in the days to where I am now, I didn't have any of my photos. I gave a lot of them away to family because it was just easier for when I was in the moving process. And so now I'm just in that space where I want to put some photos up. So comes with these little pieces here to kind of hold it all together for shipping, which is nice. But obviously once you take them off, you are gonna probably never need them again. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift these up and I'm just gonna remove these as we're just gonna take a look at one for now. So let me try to see what it says over there in that corner. But on one of the ones that I have over here, rather than leaning over the table where I can't read it. So it says, please peel off the protective film from both sides. So when I used to deal with these types before, and even on the smaller frames, they do the same thing. But essentially what they do is to protect the glass part, which is often plexiglass, which it kind of needs to be because you don't want this to be very heavy, but plexiglass can scratch. So they put a plastic film over it, not the one that you see here, but another plastic film underneath that. So we're gonna rip into this now, and be careful, you guys, when it comes to doing this with a knife, because you also don't want to scrape up your frame. So I'm turning it around this side, pulling out a knife that is a little bit sharper so I can actually get some leverage. Okay. So just to give you guys heads up, if you've never had frames like these, they're very thin and they're a little bit unconventional when it comes to the way that you put them into the framing. So a lot of people might feel a way about that. And, I hope that that you guys, I'm going to show you and demonstrate it for you guys here how it works. And then maybe you guys will be able to, see if it's for you, because it may not be for you. I'll describe it once I get this plastic off. And of course, I put the knife away and I still need it. What's nice about these frames, these type of frames, like I said, I had frames like this before in the past, many years back, because I've been in photography for a long time. But at the same time, you know, they were a different brand, but same concept. And what I'll say to you is, what I like about these frames, if you like the minimalist look and they're light and they're affordable and it's just, you want almost like all, similar to the way people feel about TVs. You want very little bezel and all screen. Well, that's what these types are like. Now, some people take pride in the fact that they like a picture that has fancy borders, like with, and I did a review one time on some frames a while back that was smaller size for like 8 by 10, you know, a normal picture style size, like regular piece of paper. What is it? Letterhead size paper, framing size. And that had a thick bezel, you know, framing. And some people like that. So my point I'm getting at is that there's art in the frame of it as well. But some people just like, I want just the image and I want the minimalist look going on. So that's where these will come into play. So either they're for you or they're not. Now, the way they work is this, you guys can't see that I'm slightly trying to pull the edge off here. Let me move this over a little bit so you could see it. The way these work is like this. You pull the edge off like that. That's how it goes. Do the same with this one here. And that's what keeps them in place. So it's a, like I said, I got used to this design. These are always the type I always had. I used to buy them at Michael's, a different brand, but then they stopped selling them. Frames have gotten expensive over the years since when I used to have a bunch of photos up. So be mindful of that. But at that time frame, these are the type I used to have because they were the most affordable. And like I said, they were all picture and no frame. And I was always a fan of that. So what we're gonna try to do is this, because it's not easy. There's a film on both sides of this plexiglass, the top and the bottom. And getting it off is not easy. But you also have to be very careful because you don't want to get fingerprints on it. Give me a second to get a grip on it. All right, I got a little piece. So I'm gonna peel on this side here. And I'm peeling from the bottom of it first. I gotta move this out the way, you guys. Sorry, I can't do it while you're seeing it because it's gonna kind of get all over the place. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna drop this back down onto this just to give it a surface to lay down on. Now, I'm gonna put a picture here that goes vertical. I'm sorry, not vertical, landscape. So that way it's gonna now make the whole scene fit the camera's angle. I am gonna lift this out of the way because I gotta be able to get this picture down. And I'm not gonna be able to do that like that. But what's great is by leaving the film part on the top layer, if I lean this on something, it's not gonna get dirty because that side still has the film on it. So that's why you wanna leave that on there. I'm gonna take this. It's funny because this could be its own picture itself that someone could keep and put on the wall. But which is kind of like, what's interesting about that is it's like free art, you know what I mean? Which is kind of cool, I think. But being that I'm a photographer, and into photography, I would never do something like that. Now, I do have an issue though. I have a major issue, and that is this is folded and it's actually pretty wrinkled. So a little story behind this is, I'm gonna see if I can fold this out without, I gotta put something on it so that way it's not, I can get that, the framing on top of it, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to put something heavy down just to do this. But besides for the fact that this has been rolled up for a while, but it's also kind of bent because I ordered this from Costco's website. Sends you, now they outsource to Shutterfly, for those who are familiar with Costco, and now they outsource to Shutterfly. The issue with that was I placed the order, and half of my photos, I actually placed the order to give as a gift to a friend, but half of my photos came back damaged. So I told them and they sent me new ones. So now I had these damaged ones that were just simply not rolled right, that's all. And eventually I was like, well, let me just hang them up. Yes, they're not in good condition, but they're still photos, I can use them. So that is what I'm doing now. And I hope that by putting them into a frame, it will flatten them out a little bit, even if they aren't perfect. And that's the story behind why this is the way it is. What I'm gonna do is align everything up so you guys don't have to wait to see that. And then once I do, I'm gonna start putting the sides on. So I just wanna show you guys a little something just in case you guys are in the same predicament, but I don't think you would be if you have normal flat photos. But then again, I am also used to, when I used to get my photos from Costco and they did the print center at Costco, I think if I'm not mistaken, they were put in large sleeves rather than rolled sleeves. I can't remember, but it definitely was different than having them in these little boxes rolled up in plastics and in these boxes when you're getting them shipped to you. But what it is I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these pieces on here, but this is just to give me some bearing. So when I put the rest of it on, it's a little bit easier. Now, one thing that I will say with this that gets a little tough is you can't slide these things further down unless they're mostly off, like not clamped on. So what I mean by that is you can't clamp them on and then you see it's not really aligned. Now you want to slide them down further. It doesn't really work that way. So just be mindful of that. Once you press them in, they're pretty solid as far as being in. Here we go with that. I don't really like the way this is completely aligned, but trying to have it work as best as possible without being too crazy. What I'll do is pull this side off first. And now I'm going to try to put this piece on over here. Bear with me, you guys, that this is a proper unboxing and installation, if you want to call it that, so you guys can see how things work, because I want you guys to know how it works in its entirety and not just the easy aspect of it all. Here we go. Sliding these on, and there we go there. And now like I said, I don't pull all of it off because now I can use this, as you see, to lean on, and I'm not putting smudges on the plexiglass of the picture frame. Get this in here. Now, one thing with these things, these frames, is you're not always going to have them on perfect. Just kind of comes with the territory because of the way that they're done. But that's just how it goes. There we go. And then now just pull that side down a little bit, and we're gonna now come from the top area. I'm gonna probably hit the camera, so don't mind you guys. Sorry about that in advance. There we go. Align it up as best as possible. What I'm going to do is lift this up and just push downwards. It's going to just make it a little bit easier for me, you guys, right now, because the photo underneath is trying to push upwards, and that's why this is happening. There we go. It's not completely even the way it's supposed to be, but it's not bad. Let me see if I can slide this over a little bit. Okay. Slide a little bit of that framing over just a tad bit. It is hitting the edge of the photo, and it's now actually destroying a little bit of the tip of the photo, but that part of the photo is hidden underneath the frame. Up here, some of the photo was coming out of the glass part, so it did kind of scratch it a little bit. You could see here, like I said, it's not perfect. But it's okay. So now I'm gonna just pull this off, and you guys can see here now how that looks. The wrinkles are still in it, but it's not as bad. Let me see if I could do this at an angle where you guys can see it a little bit better. You can kind of see some of the wrinkles in it. It's not as bad. There's a lot of reflection. I'm sorry, you guys. But it works. Like I said, this wasn't about the photo. This is about the frame. So it's a matter of if you feel this frame works for you. It is a little bit polarizing in the idea that, you know, the process of putting it on, if you want more of a heavy duty frame, but if you're the type of person who wants minimalist and you want affordability because you're gonna have like a lot of photos you wanna put up, maybe you wanna put up like 3 or 4 photos per room, this is a decent option. Now also too, I forgot taking a look quickly at the back. Those are your connection points. So I think it's also important to know that you've got the single point there, and then you've got the long point. So if you're hanging something up, be aware of that, because sometimes you put nails or however you put inside your wall, wherever you centerize with that one will be different than here. You're gonna have 2. I guess the reason why I say that is because for me, I'm gonna be alternating different pieces of art on the wall. So I have to be mindful of that as far as where the connection points are. But anyway, you guys, links in the description down below. As I mentioned before, you guys, purchases on Amazon. As always, you guys like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.